Joining me live is Independent MP for Warringah, Zali Steggall. Thank you so much for joining us, Zali. As we just heard there from Hollywood Smith in Melbourne, you know, the cost of living pressure is really affecting so many people. But what do you make of this announcement?
I think it is a natural next step when it comes to the policy to transition households off gas. It is necessary because what we're finding is more and more households electrify, so they get solar and they get batteries. There is then a hefty fee to disconnect from the gas network. And as more and more people do that, it means you're left with a more and more expensive, connection system to the gas network. So it does make sense to discourage new homes from connecting onto that gas network. Unfortunately, gas is an expensive form of power compared to renewable with electrifying households. It tends to be expensive in Australia. We pay international prices, and it does have a health impact. 12% increased risk of asthma from it. So it is a good thing all around, but obviously it has to be done in a measured way so that people can afford. But I think important to remind people this is about new homes and new connections, and it is a fee that we're already paying gradually. It's just going to be made up front.
All right, let's turn to a different topic. And Australia's Information Commissioner is starting an inquiry into the handling of personal data by TikTok. We hear a lot about TikTok, Zali, as you well know, and other platforms, but with TikTok in particular, what are the issues here? Because people can access their data, their phone numbers, browsing histories. A formal investigation is being done. Do you think this is necessary for TikTok and potentially other platforms?
Absolutely. And I do think we need to be mindful not to keep it narrow just to TikTok. It needs to be all social media platforms because this data harvesting is concerning. And as I understand it with TikTok, this is a situation where even people that aren't using TikTok are still getting their data harvested. So that's quite extraordinary. I think it's really important to remind people, turn your phones off at least once a day properly, turn it off completely. It allows the phone to reset and turn off anything that might be piggybacking or any apps that are open and tracking you. So that's an important reminder for people. It's one of the ones we get told as parliamentarians to do with our, formal kind of devices. But I think it is really important that we do proper investigation into what is happening, especially as I understand it, it's for very young people, right? The amount of data being collected on young people now is quite extraordinary. So we need to make sure we've got clear rules and laws for anyone for data collection for people under 18. I mean, I'm concerned for adults as well, but in particular our young people where their habits are getting tracked and things like their spend, and we know alcohol, tobacco and gambling are big areas that look at young people's habits online, and then there's a grooming process. So I know there's many on the crossbench that are really keen to get the government to be much stricter around data collection and tracking of young people under 18.
Yeah, interesting, because we're using online platforms more and more. It doesn't look like going away anytime soon at all. Zali, your bill to Parliament to stop the lies in political advertising, how's that going?
Look, obviously we finished the year with many discussions with the government, and I think it's important that we remember this is about protecting voters from advertising that is not consistent with consumer advertising, right? We protect consumers from misleading and deceptive claims or false claims, and so the same should happen in political advertising, no more, no less. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Parliament in February. We will resume sitting on the 6th of February, and so having more discussions with the government. But really this needs to be made as a matter of priority in this first quarter of 2024, so these first few February, March, I would hope, so that it can be in place. Obviously, we'll be expecting an election by 2025, so the government has a responsibility to put these voter protections in place, and then everyone can know where the rules are and prepare accordingly.
All right, well, we look forward to a big year in 2024 in the world of politics.
Absolutely.
Plenty to go on. We have to wrap it up, but thank you so much for joining us in 2023 and wishing you and all of your loved ones a very happy and safe new year, and we'll talk to you plenty more next year. Thank you so much, Zali.
Thank you. Happy New Year.